So last month I started my overly complicated potato chip quilt, and in my head I've been calling it my buddy system quilt because I've paired up all of my fat quarters, and then from each pair I'm going to be cutting 6 basic blocks, and then I use whatever's left over to make more elaborate blocks. And you know, elaborate might not be the right word for these blocks because they are very simple, but when they're compared to the original concept of a potato chip quilt, they are way more complicated than they need to be. And that brings me to another matter. I've had a couple comments that mentioned they weren't sure what a potato chip quilt is, and I think one person asked for a diagram to see what my quilt will look like. So I think I should address those before I move on. As I understand it, potato chip quilts are made of rectangles that are twice as long as they are wide, plus seam allowance. And then after you've cut your blocks, there are lots of different ways that you can arrange them. You could do them in a certain color blocks, you can do them in small blocks, you can do it in one giant medallion quilt. There's lots of options. But the most common way that I have seen it done is you start with 2 blocks in the center, like that. And then, actually, let's do this one. Two blocks in the center, and then on the side where there is the seam, you're going to put 2 blocks. And then for the next side, you'll sew these 2 together end to end, and then sew them like that along that long edge. And then you do the same thing. Sew these short sides and sew them along here. And you can keep going for your entire quilt, or you can stop here. You could add another layer. So this time it would be 2 on top, 2 on the bottom. I'm not paying very much attention to the colors here. And then for this side, it would be 3. So you could stop here, or you could keep going as long as you want. So the simple premise here is that you have some very easy cutting, very easy piecing, but it doesn't look quite as easy as just sewing a couple rectangles together. There's also a lot of room to really play around with color to get different effects. So this one, I did sort of a light and then a dark around that. And then the next block could have light here and then dark here. Or you could do dark, light, and do sort of a log cabin thing. There's a lot of things. You can look it up and see all the different ways you can put these blocks together. So that's my very basic explanation of what a potato chip quilt is. And then the second question, what is my quilt going to look like? Honestly, I have no idea. I haven't made any plans beyond just these blocks so far. I don't know how many blocks I'm going to end up with, and I don't know how I'm going to put them together. I don't know what orientation or how big of a block, or if maybe I just do one big block. I don't know. My hope is that it will sort of look a little funky and eclectic, but I am legitimately nervous that it's going to be just sort of busy and messy. Last month, I picked a block that I wanted to do, and then I picked specific fat quarters that I wanted to do that block in. But I thought it might be fun from now on for the rest of the quilt to interject a little bit of chance, a little bit of randomness. So I've made this slapdash popsicle stick system. So every white pound sign has a number on the end, and that's going to relate to a pair of fat quarters. And every blue square is a block that I want to work on. So I have 10 of these and 5 of these. I'm just going to draw them randomly. Hopefully this is going to keep me from overanalyzing everything I do and slowing down my progress. It also means that I might get a couple ugly blocks because I will be sticking to this system no matter what. Also, this month I'm going to be picking 2 different blocks to work with. Last month I just did one. I wanted to sort of go slow and really draw out the process and just enjoy my time with the quilt. But it turns out I have no willpower. So I am going to speed things up. I'm going to do 2 blocks this month and then 3 blocks next month. I am officially out of patience. So I will be moving still slower than usual, but faster than I was planning. Okay, let's pick a block. So I just need to grab the first one I see, and it is going to be checks. And then I need 2 fabrics. Spin these around, mix them up a little bit. And then I need 2 number signs. No, here's 1. So 3. 1, 2, 3. So these will be checks. And then another number, let's see. This one is 9. So back here, 8, 9. So here's my second group. And I might use the back of this fabric just to have a little extra contrast, I think. But that's a decision for later. So those are my check fabrics, and I'm going to make 2 blocks. So I'm going to draw a couple more sticks. Spin them around. And then try to find, here we go, flying geese. And we'll do those in 2. So here's flying geese number 1. And 7. Flying geese number 2. So now I need to prep these with spray starch. And then I also need to make a cutting guide so I can use my fabric as effectively and efficiently as possible. So again, these are checks, and these 2 are flying geese. Look at this weird flaw I found on the back of this fabric. It looks like some kind of interfacing or some kind of paper or something, and it won't come off. So I will have to be strategic when I cut this if I want to use this as my right side instead of my wrong side. So maybe for my plain blocks, this will be the right side, and then for my pieced blocks, this will be the right side. Either way, that's pretty weird. I wonder if it has something to do with it being yarn dyed or not. Like maybe it's part of the design process or the production process. If you know, leave a comment down in the comment section because I'm curious about this. I'm going to do the checker blocks first just to start simple. And I went to the trouble of making this cutting guide, and I already know that I'm not going to follow it 100%. The only thing I actually am following is that every single fat quarter for my checks, all 4 of these, are going to have 3 10.5 by 5.5 inch blocks. That's the only thing that is staying the same. Then for the purple and weird color, I don't know what color that is, honestly. But for this set, I'm going to strip piece, and instead of doing 3 strips here and then 2 strips this way, I'm just going to go all the way to the top. I don't know why I didn't think of that in the first place. It's obvious. So I'll have 3.5 by whatever the width of the fabric is. And then for this pair, because it's 2 striped fabrics, I was thinking it might be kind of boring with a check where they all have the stripes going one way. So I was thinking about instead cutting it so that maybe the lighter color stripes would go this way and the orange color would go that way. I think it would be more interesting visually, but that presents a little bit of a problem when I'm cutting because the stripes are oriented the same way on the on both of the fat quarters. So instead of doing strip sets, I'm just going to do 3.5 inch squares and go slow and just pair those together and skip the strip sewing. So that's the plan. Now I have to cut all of this up. Okay, so here are my pieces. I'm going to be doing my checks in 2 different ways, 1 by 1 and strip piecing. And I'm really excited to get sewing today because I haven't sewn in it's got to be 2 weeks because I'm getting over a bad cold. So if I had cut the orange and the cream like I cut these colors here, I would have all of the stripes going the same way. And they would look like this. And I don't think that looks bad. I just think it's a little boring. So I cut them 1 by 1 because I wanted them to look like this. So it's not a huge difference. I've just turned this stripe to go horizontally. And it gives it a little something extra, I think. It's just a little bit more interesting to the eye then the stripes going the same way. Now for this color combination, I thought I was going to just use the back side of this fabric because I like the higher contrast, but I really do like the way that this side like shimmers. Do you see how it has a little bit of a glow to it? I love it. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of both. So I'm going to do at least one pair this way and one pair this way. I just can't decide how I want the third pair to go. Actually, no, I think I'm going to do two this way and one this way, just so that this gets a little bit of an extra pop when I put them all together. Because this is low contrast, or lower contrast, this will really pop when it appears once in a while, I think. That was so fast, it was ridiculous. These ones are going to take much longer because I need to match them up one at a time. And I have to also make sure that the lines are going the way that I want. So one this way and one that way. Now I'm going to press strategically, so that means I am going to press to the side towards the purple every time for this set. And then for this set, I'm going to press towards the orange, like that. And of course, this is going to take me, again, a lot longer than this. Now I just need to subcut these into 3-inch strips, and then I can start putting my blocks together. Finishing these blocks is going to be so easy because I just need to sew 2 pairs together like this, 2 pairs together like this, and then I pair the square and the square. And then I get something that looks like this and this. Okay, the checks are done. It's time to move on to the flying geese blocks. So the same thing goes for these fat quarters. Each one will get 3 10.5 by 5.5 inch blocks. And then the geese are going to be 3 by 5.5, and the little corners, the sew and flip corners, are going to be 3 by 3. And because I am thrifty, I'm not going to waste those corners. I'm going to do sew and flip plus another seam so I get some bonus half square triangles, and I'll show you how I do that in a minute. But first, I got to cut all this up. Also, I don't have any fancy plans with these fabrics. I'm not worrying about the stripes this time around. So really, the cutting might be a lot more straightforward than when I did the checks. Before I can get started, I need to draw lines on the backs of all of my little 3 by 3 squares. So I'm going to draw one line from corner to corner. Make sure to get it dark enough to be able to see it really clearly. So that's my first line, and then I'm going to scoot my ruler over 1/2 inch. So my 1/2 inch line is going from corner to corner now. And then I draw my second line. Looks like that. Now, flying geese are pretty simple to do, but there is one giant rookie mistake, one that I have done myself, that I want to help you not make. So first of all, you have this rectangle, and I usually refer to this as the goose. And then you have 2 squares, and I think of these as the wings. So each block is going to have a goose and 2 wings. So first things first, the very first thing you do is you lay out a square with the diagonal going from the bottom to the middle top, from the bottom corner to the middle top. And then if you have this extra line, you want it to be towards the corner and not down here towards the middle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and chain stitch these all at once. So I'm going to do every single diagonal corner to corner line, then I'm going to turn it around and do every single extra bonus line here. Now, the biggest rookie mistake that I have actually made before is I thought, oh, I'll just press it all at the end. So I left it like this, and then I brought my other piece here, and I sewed here, and then at the end I tried to press it open. But if you do that, you'll be sewing over this seam right here. So you can open up this part, but you cannot open up this part. It'll get caught. See, like that. So, number one, rookie mistake to avoid: sew your seam, press it open, then add your other wing. If you're a very seasoned quilter or an advanced quilter, let us know down in the comment section if you have made this mistake too. I finished sewing all of my corner to corner lines, so now I need to flip this whole chain around and then sew all of my bonus lines. I like to press these units before I cut the two pieces apart because I just think it gives a little bit more structure. It's not as likely to stretch, just a good foundation. And then once I get a good press, then I will fold it back down and cut with my scissors and just sort of eyeball it down the middle. It always seems like a much crisper, nicer result when I do it this way. After I've given it a nice firm press, I'll open that up, take my handy dandy scissors, and then I'm just going to aim down the middle. Just like that. I'll store these half square triangles somewhere else to press and square up at a later date, and then I just take my half flying geese and I repeat the process. There are so many different ways that you can put these flying geese together. You could do just the normal, all going in one way. This one has one set going this way, one set going this way. This one has sort of a chevron effect because I've alternated red goose, pink goose, red goose, pink goose. So that looks sort of cool. I have two sets facing off against each other. So I could do this, and I'm sure there's many, many more options. But because my quilt is already going to be pretty busy, I'm going to try to keep it somewhat simple. So no changing directions like this batch or this batch here. But I think I will do, in one set of colors, I'll do this chevron, and in the other set of colors, the simple minimal, everybody's flying in the same direction sort of block. So it'll look like that. Although I'm not sure which set I'm going to do as a chevron and which one I'm going to do as a simple one yet. I need to take a break anyway, so I'll think about that and then I will sew these up. So with all the sewing done, I have 24 basic blocks, 4 flying geese blocks, and 8 checker blocks for a total of 36 blocks to add to my collection, plus 32 of these bonus half square triangles, which I have no idea what I'm going to do with. Thanks for spending time with me today, quilters. If you want to support this channel and help me buy supplies and materials for future videos, please visit my Buy Me a Coffee page linked in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. And I'll see you again real soon. Bye!